Big changes are taking place right now in the real estate industry. NAR is settling its Sizer Burnett case as opposed to appealing after its guilty verdict this past fall. And this is going to have drastic impacts if you're a home buyer out there, if you're a home seller out there. And we could see buyers' agents essentially be eliminated from the market altogether. We'll have to see how this all plays out over the next year, but it's going to have, I think it's going to have drastic impacts to the housing market. So we'll talk about all that in this video. But first, my name is Liam O'Reilly. I'm a real estate agent here in Vermont with Jerry Riley Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs, reach out to me directly. Happy to help you whether you're buying or selling, either in Vermont or anywhere across the country. All my contact information is in the description. So let's get right into it. This was an email. I got this information in an email from NAR, and it overviews exactly the details of the settlement. So I think it's best to hear it from the horse's mouth and talk about some of the major changes. So, the first part of the settlement is that brokers, agents, people like myself, we're not going to be held liable, at least in the Sizer Burnett case. There could be other lawsuits that come up, but it seems like for the most part, this is going to remove any liability on our part. Now, practice changes. This is where things start to get tricky, and where the real changes to the housing market could be right here. We're able to retain the right for consumers to have cooperative compensation as an option so long as they pursue it off MLS through negotiation and consultation with real estate professionals. So what does this mean? Right now, how a lot of people choose to sell their home is they choose to they list their home with a listing agent, and that agent might offer or might negotiate a 5% or a 6% commission. Half of that goes to the agent that brings the buyer, or if it's the listing agent, they retain that whole 5%. If they have a buyer's agent, then 2.5% of the sales price goes to whoever brings the buyer. And this was negotiated upfront in listing agreements. And so what this is saying, what the new rules are going to be, is that you can still negotiate. Listing agents can still negotiate buyers' compensation. Sellers can still offer buyers agents compensation. It just can't be offered through MLS. And this is one of the most confusing aspects of the settlement that I have a hard time wrapping my head around, because a few years ago, they required that this buyer's compensation be offered or be shown publicly through websites like Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, so that if you're a home buyer out there and you have a buyer's agent, you can see if that seller is offering a buyer's agent's commission. And if they're not, you know that upfront. So it's not something that's a surprise to you. Now what they're saying is that it can't be offered through MLS, which I presume, MLS is the system that broadcasts all these listings out to Zillow, to Realtor.com, to these public websites. And if you can't offer buyer's agent commission through these public websites, but you can still offer buyer's agent's commission if you're a home seller, if you're a listing agent, then essentially this information isn't public anymore. Nobody knows if commission's being offered to buyer's agents or if there's no commission being offered. And so I think it's really going to hurt people who are looking to buy a home who have a buyer's agent. It muddies the water. There's less transparency with this part of the settlement. I think the hope of it, I think the attorneys' hope who were representing the sellers in this court case, their hope is that people will stop offering buyers agents commissions. And that is something that could happen. We could see sellers and listing agents choose not to offer any buyer's agent commission. And then if you have a buyer's agent, if you're a buyer out there working with a buyer's agent, it's that agent's responsibility to negotiate the commission on your behalf with the seller. And this could either mean, if you're in a multiple offer situation and the listing agent isn't offering any buyer's agent commission, then you might be responsible to pay that buyer's agent out of pocket, which ultimately, if you are a wealthy home buyer, it's not going to affect you all that much because you have the money to pay that commission. But if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're a lower income home purchaser, who maybe maybe you haven't gone through this process before, and you want an agent who's working on your behalf to guide you through this, to advise you on the inspections, to advise you on what type of offer it should be, how high you should go in price. And if it is a multiple offer situation, you're probably not going to want to have a buyer's agent because you're not going to want to pay the fee to that buyer's agent to help you in this transaction. And if it's not being offered, which I think is the hope of these attorneys, then you're going to be disadvantaged. You're going to be on your own making these decisions. And people who are wealthier, people who can afford a buyer's agent, they're going to have somebody in their corner with that expertise to help advise them and give them an upper hand on the lower income people. I mean, that's one scenario that I see playing out, and I think that's probably the most likely scenario in the short term if buyers agents commissions stop being offered. But the confusing part is sellers and listing agents can still offer a buyer's agent's commission. It just can't be through MLS. So now we have no idea on the listings that hit the market if they are offering a commission, if they aren't, where with the system that we have right now, we know if they're offering a commission, we know if they're not offering a commission. And you as a buyer, you as a consumer in this housing market have that information. You know it publicly, it's out there, and you can make your decision based on that public information. So essentially now it's going to be hidden from both buyers agents and consumers and home buyers out there. So that's really the major change that could eliminate buyer's agency altogether. Now, another big change here, MLS participants acting for buyers will be required to enter into written agreements with their buyers before touring a home. Now, this I think is potentially even more damaging to buyers agents out there, and is going to make listing agents do a lot more work for the listings that they have. It's also going to impact companies like Zillow, like Realtor.com, because right now those companies, Zillow, Realtor.com, they show all the listings on their website, and when you click contact an agent on Zillow or one of these websites, most of the time they send you to a buyer's agent. They send you to a company who is paying to get that lead, to get buyer leads and show homes throughout the MLS. But now if you have to have a written agreement to show a home in MLS, like right now, if I'm getting a lead from Zillow or Realtor.com, I can give the consumer as much information as they want, answer any questions, and then we can run out and we can see that property today without signing any paperwork. Here in Vermont, I'm required to give a disclosure that says, look, I'm not representing you until you sign paperwork. But, if the cooperation agreement isn't transparent, and if you have to sign paperwork before showing a property, a lot of these people, a lot of these leads that come in, they're going to just choose to go straight to the listing agent. They're going to, say, I don't want to sign any paperwork with a buyer's agent. I don't want to be on the hook for paying this agent if the seller and the listing agent aren't offering a buyer's agent's commission, because that's not public either. I'm not going to go through you, and I'm going to go directly to the listing agent. That's what a lot of buyers are going to say. So this is going to have big impacts. Even the fact that you have to have a written agreement before showing a property, it's another barrier of entry that makes things more difficult for buyer's agents. And I think is part of the reason why we might see buyer's agency go away in the next few years, or at least be severely diminished. So the last part of this settlement that's really, really important is NAR is going to pay $400 million over 4 years to the plaintiffs in this case, to the people that sued them, which is, I don't know exactly where that money is coming from. Apparently they have $1 billion in assets, including $320 million in revenue, $328 million, and $306 million in expenses. So, I mean, their net profit is only about $22 million a year. I don't know what assets they have that they can sell off to pay these plaintiffs, but the $22 million a year is not going to cut it to pay for this $400 million settlement over the next 4 years. So if they start charging insane dues for membership to NAR, then realtors are just going to leave NAR. They're not going to be a part of this organization. And I don't know what's going to happen to the plaintiffs, how they're going to get paid. But that's a potential question mark of how things are going to play out. Now, I think moving into the future, if it's really uncertain, we don't know exactly how this is going to impact the housing market. Just because cooperation agreements can't be offered to buyers agents through MLS doesn't mean that they can't be offered at all. So it's remained to be seen how if listing agents are going to choose to offer buyer's agent compensation or not. We'll have to see how things play out over the upcoming months. But a scenario that I could see happening, maybe not this year, but maybe in 2025 and 2026, are flat fee buyers agencies, where essentially you pay maybe $1,000 up front, and then for the entirety of your home search, you aren't seeing homes with your buyer's agent. But when you want to make an offer, when you need to negotiate an inspection, you have this representative in your corner who's negotiating on your behalf, who's advising you based on comparables in the market. Again, it's not as good as having an agent go in there, see the home with you, evaluate different things, point out different aspects about the home that might be a downside. But it is a way to give you at least give buyers some expertise throughout their transaction. And I think we could see something like that pop up in the next few years, or more of that pop up in the next few years. I mean, my overall thoughts on this is, by not offering buyers agents commissions through MLS, by making that illegal essentially, or not allowing it, then it causes less transparency. It's going to give buyers agents, the consumer out there, less transparency as to what is being offered from this seller. And then it's going to discourage, especially the lower income buyers, from getting a buyer's agent. If you have a lot of money and you can afford to pay a buyer's agent, you're probably still going to do so, because it's going to give you a leg up over people that aren't represented, aren't familiar with the market, aren't doing a bunch of transactions. And so they're kind of flying blind, trying to figure out what the best solution is for them. And then we could see these flat fee agencies shoot up over the next few years. I think, personally, I think this is a step away from a free market system. Sure, the standard commission, pretty much most agents charge between 5 and 6%, but that's not all agents. There's flat fee services out there that will charge, at least around here, as little as $3,500 to buyers agents, or get $3,500 as their commission to sell your home for you, and then not offer anything out to buyers agents in MLS. And so, right now we have a system where the consumer can choose who they want to work with. If you want to go with a flat fee agency, you can go with a flat fee agency. If you want to offer buyer's agents commission, because that's going to incentivize people working with buyer's agents to come show your home, then you can do that, but you don't have to. You can sell your home for sale by owner. And so, in my opinion, this is just another restriction that takes away from what's essentially a free market system as of right now, where consumers have choice. They don't have to offer a buyer's agent's commission. And now, it makes it harder if they want to offer that buyer's agent's commission, which is going to, ultimately, I think it's going to hurt the home buyers more than it's going to hurt home sellers. It's going to make things harder for lower income people. And in my opinion, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to take away the transparency that we have right now in MLS. The signing an agreement before even seeing a home, I think that makes a little bit more sense. It does make things harder for buyer's agents, but just because it's harder for buyer's agents doesn't mean it might not be better for the consumer, where you have everything in writing up front from that first showing. That in my opinion isn't necessarily a bad thing. But again, all these factors combined could, we could see buyer's agents essentially disappear over the next few years. So anyway, if you have any real estate needs, reach out to me directly. Leave a comment. I'd love to know what you folks think. It seems like a lot of people who aren't real estate agents were in favor of this verdict. So I'm curious to see what you think. Do you think this is a good thing for the real estate industry? Do you think this is a good thing for home sellers and home buyers? Or do you think the potential negative impacts of this decision are worse than the potential benefits that people will receive? I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.